Hey, and welcome. You're tuning in to Unbreakable Hope with me, your host, Jessica Rose. This podcast is all about seeking the light. In each episode, we chat with someone who has either overcome the darkness or who is actively spreading light within their own community. So let's jump into today's episode. Today's special guest is Bobbi. Bobbi is such a beautiful soul and a powerhouse for community change. I learned so much for all these different initiatives that she's doing that's really making not just an impact for her family, for her local community, for the US, but also the world. So I hope you're willing to stay tuned to listen to this episode and see maybe what resonates with you for one of Bobbi's many initiatives and how you can support her, or maybe how you can start something like that in your own community and family. I'm so excited for today's chat. I'm just so grateful that you have the time to be able to sit down and talk with me about all the amazing things you're doing. So thank you so much for being here and being my guest today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be on with you today.
Well, we have a few things in common. One is we have an amazing pageant coach together, but I want to pass it over to you so you can share with our listeners a little bit more about yourself, and we'll jump into your amazing story and our lovely chat for the day.
Thank you so much. My name is Bobbi Mendez. I have a wonderful, loving husband. I have 2 beautiful children and 3 stepchildren. So we have the modern Brady Bunch. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a salon owner, and I love all things beauty. My salon is an all-natural salon, and the reason why I have an all-natural salon is because I actually had cancer when I was younger, and I believe that all-natural products are the reason why I am here today.
I love that, and I love just your spirit and your soul. You can tell how much you're just like this true, loving, and connected human being to the present, which is really nice because I don't feel like I'm that way a lot. But I definitely, so you are wearing a crown and sash, and I definitely want to start a little bit there. Your current title, like how did you get into pageantry, and what have you gained the most from being in it?
I want to say that pageantry has changed my life. I am 40 years old, and I just started doing pageantry like a year and a half ago. And I'm a firm believer that it is never too late to try something new, and it's never too late to follow your dreams. I have always wanted to do a pageant ever since I was a little girl. And I grew up Mennonite, and I'm not sure if you know what that is, but it is when you're very sheltered. You're not allowed to wear any fancy clothes. You're not allowed to wear lots of makeup, no attention drawn to you. And if you're a woman, you have to like be in the house, and that is your career, like being a housewife. And from a young age, I realized I wanted more out of life. So I left, and I always thought in the back of my mind, like, I want to be a pageant girl. When I was 5 years old in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher gave my mom a little packet and told my mom, there's something special about your daughter. I think she needs to be in this pageant. And I kept that packet until I left home. And I left home at the age of 17 because I was like, I am going to be a pageant girl at some time in my life. Like that is what I wanted to do. And finally it happened years and years later. I was doing hair and makeup for pageant girls, and I told them my story, and I was like, I always wanted to do it, but now it's so late. I have no idea. And they're like, no, it's not too late. It's never too late. And when they talk about the sisterhood is so real. Like, these girls were encouraging me. They were telling me to do it. And I was just the hair and makeup artist. Do you know what I mean? So they believed in me. So I went home and told my husband, and then he believed in me. He's like, yeah, let's do it. And my kids were cheering me on, and it's been amazing ever since. I feel like I got such close friends from pageantry. I learned so many new things. It's been so amazing. I'm just soaking this year up.
Well, and that's how we connected, was through
Yeah.
like the power of pageantry, right? And it's another way to be able to find a group of people who are like-minded, right? I tell people all the time, same thing as you're saying, like, that's a past thing. I'm old. Like, no, there's so many opportunities out there. I didn't even know. And I'm learning more and more that I'm in this, but finding people who are like-minded, people who have families. I have a husband too. I have a stepson. So finding people who have that, and still, like you said, it's never too late to chase your dreams. It's never too late to follow your passions and do what you want out of life. And that's what I love, is finding other women who have those similarities. Like, yeah, I have a family, but I'm also an entrepreneur, and I also give back to my community, and I also like blingy things, right?
Yes. And I think it's great to share it with my children, because that's what makes it most fun, is being with my children throughout it and them supporting me and living through it with them. So I feel like God had the right timing so we could share our joys together.
Yes, and it's such a blessing, because it's one thing that your kids can look up and say, "Hey, you put yourself out there. You were literally willing to get on a stage and compete." And that's something I think a lot of our youth don't get to see, or that we're not so willing or forthcoming to show that for them, is saying like, "Hey, I'm trying something hard. I'm putting myself out there. You can do that too." And it's okay if you reach stumbling blocks or you don't place first. I say this a lot in pageantry, right? It's so subjective, and people really beat themselves up at times if they don't get the crown, but it's all that stuff leading up to the crown. Like you were
Right.
saying, that sisterhood, the growth, the experience itself is just so magical and beautiful. I mean, just like your children are kind of magical and beautiful, right? Uh,
Yeah.
you were told, you said at one point that you weren't going to be able to have kids, and now you have two of your own kids. I
Yeah.
think that's something really beautiful. Would you like to share a little bit more about that piece of it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in my 20s, they told me that I wasn't going to be able to have kids. And I was really upset because they found cancerous cells and they were removed, and unfortunately came back. And then they had to do more invasive and they had to remove them again. And then they came back for the third time. So they're like, okay, we need to get rid of them for good. And my sister, thank goodness for my sister, because she was with me throughout the whole journey. And she would take me to the appointments, and she like took care of me when I got back home. And it was a really scary process. And being in that mindset, like that I'm never going to be able to have children and this is going to be a hard road for me, coming around and being able to have not just one, but two was a miracle in itself. So I am so grateful, so thankful for my two wonderful, beautiful babies that aren't babies anymore. But it was such a wonderful experience. And then for my second one, because the first one was just such a surprise and jumping through hoops to happen, I was like, okay, telling my husband, like, well, we can adopt. And then the adoption was thousands. It was $45,000. I'm like, that's just not in the budget. That's not in our budget at all. We were looking into doing foster children. And I was like, my husband's like, no, Bobbi, this is not a good plan for us. You love everything, especially fur babies. So I foster cats and things like that. And when I was fostering my cats, I was bawling like full out crybaby. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, I can't even get rid of these baby cats that I nursed from like little tiny babies. And I had them for 3 weeks. Like, I can't do it. So that was out the window. And then all of a sudden I found out that I was pregnant, and it was so magical. So I'm very thankful for that journey, because I know it's hard, and I know there's so many women out there that's struggling with that, especially today. I feel like that's an everyday occurrence, and it's so challenging, and it's very depressing So just getting that mindset, like this isn't going to happen and that is okay. And then when something turns around and it's actually happening, you just feel like a weight lifted off your shoulders. It's great.
I I can only imagine. I have kind of a similar story where totally couldn't have kids, but for me, that was never something that I thought of or I dreamed of. But I have people close to me in my life who that was something they always wanted a family. So not to be able to have one, or one of my super lovely best friends for life person, she went through so much to have her first son, and she was trying so hard again, and unfortunately had medical complication after medical complication. And I feel for her. She's so loving to serve others that she's sharing her story online so other women don't feel so alone or isolated as they're going through this process. Right. And just every time I see something, my heart just breaks for her, because she would be this wonderful mother. And another friend who was brave enough to do fostering, I just, like you were saying, like, I could not imagine, like, I'm gonna bring in this child, love this child for I don't know how long, however long the legal system lets me, and then they're just gonna go back and I may never see them again. And my friend who does that, I think, like, that's a whole nother level of service and strength. Like, that's not what God blessed me with, right? God blessed me with a strong stomach for different reasons. I'm a stick to that, but it's so great for people who are able to do that, and just
Exactly.
a wonderful testament for, like, your journey, and saying this wasn't supposed to happen, but God blessed me with this miracle, and being able to really run with that, right? Having that family and showcasing that love and support and sharing it with other people. I think that's just really amazing, and how you're able to tie that journey into what you do. Like you said, you have a salon that's all natural products, and you contribute that to one of the reasons that you're still here and thriving. I'd love to hear maybe a little bit more, like, what got you into wanting to be a stylist and own a salon and do things like that?
Yeah, so it started when I was a young child. I had my two favorite pets. They were sheep, and they were named Glitz and Glamour. And I used to brush them and make their wool all fluffy. And I would paint their hooves and make their hooves all, like, shiny and nice. And I would win a lot at the shows. They were show sheep. And from that moment on, I'm like, I want to do famous people's hair and makeup. And I didn't really know who the famous people were, but I was going to find out who they were. So at the age of 17, I was on a mission. I moved to Philadelphia, which is about 2 hours away from where I lived, and I started going to school there. And then from there, I went to New York and I networked, and I started working on fashion shows and runway shows, photo shoots and stuff like that. And this past year, I actually got to work with Louis Vuitton, doing hair and makeup for the runway show. I also worked with Betsy Johnson. I got invited to go to Paris Fashion Week. I got to style the Victoria's Secret angels hair and makeup, and I wore the Victoria's Secret angel wings, and I give those angels credit because they are so heavy. I would be, like, crunched over, like, trying to walk down the runway, but they are slaying the day, looking beautiful on the runway. So I give them so much credit where credit is due. So yeah, just followed my dream from there, and then opened up my salon after I realized that I was diagnosed with cancer and things like that, and really got into the holistic products, because my doctor said, make sure that you're eating everything natural. And I'm like, well, if I'm eating everything natural, let's make sure that I'm putting everything on my hair, everything on my skin natural. And that's what I started to do. And that's when I opened up my own salon and wanted to incorporate that with everything else, because everyone is going through the same things. There's so many people that want that natural product. And I feel like it's a great market for it. So I feel like, especially with the hair color that you put on, it's so much more healthier. Like the lightener that I use, it's 98% all natural, and I feel like it makes a difference in the people's hair. Like the integrity of the hair is better, and it looks more shiny and nice. So I feel like it really does help, and it really does make a difference.
Yeah, I know for me personally, I've been able to experience that difference as well, is having something that's good for your skin. A lot of people don't think about that, like, oh, what I put in my body, but the skin absorbs what you put on it too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's amazing. I'll never forget. I was doing one of those like the direct sales, like go into the home, and the company I was with at the time, I loved like all their different lotions and all this kind of stuff. And I remember a woman asking me, well, does it have this particular ingredient in it? Not that I remember the ingredient, I just remember the story. And I thought, oh, I don't know. At the time, my big focus has always been like using products that aren't tested on animals. So I knew that bit, but she asked about the ingredients. I don't know, I have to look into it. And then she said, well, honey, I'm a breast cancer survivor and I just can't have anything with that ingredient in it. And I thought, what? And this is instantly where my mind went. And I'm sure you're probably right there with me on this. Is like, then why would we sell that product?
Right. Exactly.
So that's one thing that just like blows my mind, is like, why is it that the US regulations and the UK regulations are very different? Even like Doritos. Like, what?
Yes.
Doritos. I'm like, why wouldn't we just do the better option? I don't get it.
Right. So true. It's so true.
But I know you focus a lot on also the inner self, like the growth, and really making sure that people are set not just with beauty, feeling good, looking good, having those good natural products, but it's also the money aspect and being an entrepreneur. That's really important to you. You've grown a business, and showing your kids that, you know, keep chasing your dreams. Like, this was your dream as a child. You're able to make it come true. And you work on some cool projects, being able to help other women do that, as well as installing that mindset into our youth. So I'd love to give you an opportunity to talk more about those projects that you work on as well.
Sure. So the one project is called Money Mindset, because I believe, especially in the time that we are in today, it is so important to teach teens how to manage their money and how to budget their money and how to become an entrepreneur. Because I wish that someone would tell me how to do it. I had to figure it out on my own. There was lots of fails and just kind of like going out on whims and wishes. So that is my mission, is going around to the different schools. I've reached over 6,000 students all around the United States. Yeah, from this program. And it is a great program. We do real life scenarios. And the funny thing is, like, all the scenarios that we do happen to me. So I'm really passionate about it. And I put them into groups and I'm like, okay, so what would you do if this happened? And they would brainstorm. And I love to see the things that they would come up with. Another thing that we do is how to budget. Okay, you have this amount of money. How are we going to budget to get through the month? And just really interactive stuff. And then I actually brought this over to Africa, to Sierra Leone, Africa, which is the second poorest country in the whole entire world. And I helped 300 women become micro entrepreneurs. And I am going back next year, well, this coming year, 2026, to make sure that they're doing great, and to just see them in the open air market at their stands and selling their goods. It's such an amazing feeling to see them thriving, because especially in that culture, the men, because they're Muslim, the men feel like they are not worth as much as women here. So it's really important to instill that success in them. Yeah. So that is my mission. And I've been doing summer camps. So not like over the summer, not taking a break. We've been doing summer camps and going in and teaching the children how to think like an entrepreneur and doing fun activities with that. So it has been so amazing. It's been great.
And I think even in America, the money topic is one of the many taboo topics we put out there.
Yeah.
Is it's, oh, we don't talk about that. Well, why not? Because I'm a firm believer in anything that you make taboo, you keep in the dark, and it's just going to fester. It's not actually going to flourish and grow. So I love the idea that your real life examples, using your own life to say, hey, like how would you handle that? And that's something that we don't see a lot. The way our culture and the dynamics of our family dynamics and our community dynamics, how everything has changed, kids don't really get that opportunity to experience a real life problem in an environment where you can help solve it before you have to actually do it in real life. And I think that's just so powerful, even just being willing to talk about money. Like,
exactly.
I remember as a kid, learning to write a check out. I don't really do that anymore, but so many people didn't know how to do that. I get in the Marine Corps and they'd never wrote a check or knew what balancing a checkbook was. And I thought,
yes,
my mom taught me this when I was young. Like, why don't you know that? Like, you're 18, 19 years old.
exactly.
That's some true empowerment that is going to change generations. I love that so much. And it's just so exciting that somebody's willing to be brave and have that conversation and break that taboo. And
thank you.
You're welcome. The fact that you're willing to even go to a whole nother country, which most people don't even leave the hometown that they're in. You're willing to go to a whole nother country and take this knowledge and skills that you've learned to help other women who will then be able to help their families. But that's not the only thing you do. You shared that when you are going to Africa coming up and the first quarter of next year, and that you do so much while you're there, not just being able to build entrepreneurs and talk about money, that I definitely want people to know about the different things you do, like the drives, getting active needs met for this community. So I'd love for you to share some of that you're working on when you go to Africa as well.
I would love to. So I helped raise over $75,000 for an orphanage last year. And when I went over to the orphanage, we had a ceremony for the opening of the orphanage. And it was such an amazing feeling to see the outpouring of the tribes. It was so humbling. They brought us, they didn't have much, but what they did have, they brought us, and they brought us like wheats and vegetables and things like that. And they were carrying it across the plane, and they were carrying it over their heads. And they gave me this little, and I still have it. It's called a coconut. It's a sign for friendship. And it was the sweetest thing. And they were so prideful, and they were so happy that we were there. So I'm going back to see these wonderful, beautiful children of Sierra Leone, Africa, and to help at the orphanage that we helped provide for them, and also helping in the clinic, because the clinic is a lifeline for them. People walk 15 miles just to get to this clinic. And at the clinic, they don't have much. Like when I was in the clinic, we each had one pair of gloves, and that had to last us the whole day. So that kind of puts in perspective what they have over there. When the babies were done being cleaned up, they had to measure them. They had a bucket suspended from the ceiling, like a paint bucket, and they would put the baby in that bucket, and that's how they would weigh them. So when I say that they don't have much, they really have nothing at all. When I was in the birthing room, there were 5 women that were giving birth. There was one bed. So that means that one lucky woman got a bed. The rest of them were on the floor or standing against the wall. One person was on the chair, but we have the luxuries. So my heart is in Africa. I can't wait to go back to see and to help, and whatever they need, like I will be there for them. And to see the smiles on the children's face, because they are always so happy, and they're so happy to see me, and the game, like they don't have like toys and stuff like that, but what they do have, they're very grateful for.
Yeah, a lot of lessons that I think our youth here in America could greatly learn from. And I know like we talked a bit about how you'll be doing some Instagram lives and making posts as things get closer. So you're making sure to get the items that are in dire need in that moment. But you also shared something that's really sweet and cool that you would love to be able to give to these children as well. Things that I think a lot of us here in America, or really anyone listening, because I'm pretty sure like if you're listening, you probably have some form of internet or cell phone or something that we take for granted. We don't even think about how something so small and soft could be a luxury.
Yeah, so me and my daughter, we had matching stuffed animals. So when I went over there, we were cuddling with our matching stuffed animals at night. So I had a line of children that were looking in my bedroom to see this stuffed animal because they've never seen a stuffed animal before. And they loved to look at the stuffed animal. They never asked to touch it, they never asked to cuddle it, but they just like to look at it. And that is what I want to bring to them, is lots of stuffed animals. I want each child to be able to hug and hold and squeeze a stuffed animal, because I even know for myself, like I still have a stuffed animal. I still sleep with a stuffed animal. And for them to just be a kid and have something to hold and squeeze at night, that would be so wonderful for them.
Yeah, it's literally those little things. I love that you and your daughter had that shared special bond through that. I remember my dad was deployed and lived in Saudi Arabia almost my entire life. And he had brought me back a teddy bear that had like the flight jacket and the crest from his unit and stuff. And I remember him telling me that, hey, this is like basically, this is me when I'm not here. I still have that bear to this day. I'm like, I will never get rid of that stuffed animal. It is one that he's preserved right now, but I'm going to find a special place for him in our new home as we're building, because I look at it and I think of that memory and how thoughtful that was for my dad. To, hey, well, I'm gone. I want to make sure that there's a piece of me here that can comfort you and watch over you for me. And being able to give that to those kids, I just get happy like thinking about that memory. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. I know. It's just like, it is so sweet. The look on their faces, that's just what I want to bring them. Like, but we will see what the lady that is in charge of the orphanage, because I know that she has like an agenda of what is the most important. But I feel like for their mental health, that is the most important.
And hopefully people listening would be able to contribute. So maybe we do both. We can make sure that there's adequate medical supplies and also something sweet and special. So I just think that's really cool. I can't wait to hear more about what the dire needs are and support you on your upcoming trip. I also want, like, you do so many amazing things. And I know that sometimes people will think, oh, well, what about the kids here? What about what's going on here? Well, not only are you going into schools and teaching kids about money management, but you're also helping people here in America. So you have the Operation Dignity. I'd love to tie in more about that involvement and what you do there and how people can support you there as well.
Sure. So I have a project that is called Operation Dignity. I absolutely love this project. It helps homeless feel better about themselves. So it's kind of like a full service. So they get hot breakfast, they get hot showers. So I bring shower trucks in so they can feel clean and they can feel dignified again. Also, haircuts, because a haircut isn't just, for us, it's for them to feel good and feel like their life is turning around. I feel like it is a really special service, especially for the homeless community. And I'll tell you why. So when I do these haircuts, these homeless men and women and children, I've cut baby's hair. I gave a baby's first haircut. And I'll even bring like little lollipops and stuff like that and give them the lollipops after. But like the one man, he was having a job interview. And after I did his hair, like he looked like a new person. He had no chance of getting the job. But after the haircut, you know what I mean? Like he looked great. He looked renewed. Another man, like he started crying. Like he started bawling, and I gave him a hug, and he was like, and I asked him, like, how's your day? Like, how are you doing? He's like, there's so many people out there that like help the homeless, but they don't ask me how my day is. They don't ask me how I'm doing. It's not like a touching service. Like I'm touching them, I'm cutting their hair, I'm caring for them. And that's not a service that we provide. Like, yes, we give them food. Yes, we give them blankets, which is great. But I feel like this service is exceptional because it's something that they need, and it's personalized too. Like I'll show them a mirror and I ask, like, how do you want your haircut? Do you like this? Do you like that? Like they have options, and they're like, wow, like I never was talked to like this. You know, I'm always ignored. So thank you for making me feel visible. And like he was just crying the tears. Like it was just such a touching moment. So I feel like I'm changing lives one haircut at a time, and it's a great feeling. So Christmas is coming. So I'm doing Operation Dignity Christmas. So they'll get goodie bags with blankets and hand warmers and stuff like that, so they can stay warm, and they'll get their haircuts and their hot showers too.
That's so beautiful. Like there's so many things that go into that, I mean, the thoughtfulness, but saying, hey, how would you like your haircut? You're giving them power back because their life has been stripped. I used to work for a program that helped veterans who were homeless. And I remember the same thing. A lot of my guys who are coming in, most everyone on my caseload happen to be men, but when they would come in, sometimes they lost their family for whatever reasons. And I was their only person asking them or caring for them. So I remember I would always walk them to the elevator and I'd give them a hug and say, okay, you know, this is when I'm going to see you next. But shoot, I just got my hair done. I got it touched up, cut, and I literally did a video about this because I thought about how much of a boost that is for anybody. Think of somebody who has lost everything.
Everything. Mm-hmm.
How much of just that you feel human again in a shower. Like, yes, like I could not imagine. I mean, I've been like when I was in the Marine Corps, right? Covered in dirt, dirty, you know, not showering for weeks. Okay, that's circumstantial, right? But I remember also the first shower I got to take and actually like feel the hot water was amazing.
Yeah.
Right? And just that little bit of how much you're giving back to someone and seeing them as a human being and treating them humanely is just, it's so cool. So from somebody who's worked in the field and helped people, like been boots on the ground and stuff, I've seen it firsthand as well, how empowering something like that is. So I love that you're doing a Christmas one coming up too. So if there's any way that people can support you, I'll have the links down below in the description so people can connect with you and support you, especially with your trip coming up. I just feel like you pour so much into the world, both within yourself and your family and here in the US and overseas. It's just such a, it's so cool to get to know you and connect with you.
Oh, thank you.
All these things you're doing. So I appreciate you so much. And I know that we've talked about so many amazing things that I don't want to forget or miss something. So I'd love to give you an opportunity if there's something more that we need to cover, or if you just have some final thoughts for people, I'd love to give you some space for that.
Thank you so much. Well, I do have something fun and exciting coming up. I am having a makeup line coming out. I'm super excited. It's called Glamorous, to go with Glamour Room. Kind of like paying tribute to Glitz and Glamour, my sheep from way back in the day. But I'm really super excited. So if you know anything about my salon, it's all old Hollywood, Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, so it's going to be that old Hollywood feel. So it was very fun creating this. So I'm super excited for that to launch. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to happen, but it's happening. I'm in like the planning stages with all that. So that's been great.
Well, when it does happen, I will happily update the description when you send me a link so people can check it out. My bathroom, right? Like if I have to share a bathroom with my husband, that's a whole different thing, right? But before my husband, and then when my stepson moved out, like I redid it back to like my bathroom. It's Hollywood glam. Also, it's pink and black with Marilyn Monroe and Audrey Hepburn. So like we have way more in common than I think we even knew. But yeah. I love that feeling. I love the subtleties of the glam, and again that like feeling good but putting good things on your skin, and it's such a cool feeling. So I can't wait to see what it looks like and feels like. And yes, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. That's just one more way that you're going to be able to increase revenue, to be able to pour that back out into all the amazing projects that you're doing. And I'm sure you'll find something else to be able to get involved with as well.
Yes.
Well, thank you again so much for being here. This has just been such a fun chat for me. I always love getting to meet new people, but learning about all these amazing initiatives you have and programs and ways that, you know, you at such a young age, being diagnosed with cancer, being told that you wouldn't be able to have kids, fighting through all that, to now where you have blossomed and grown in life is just a true testament. As you said, like, don't ever give up on your dreams. Just seeing how much you've been accomplished, and you're never too old to be able to achieve great things and help people, because every day we are the change in the world. So thank you so much for being a guest, but thank you so much for really living out the life and helping so many people with all the things that you do.
Thank you so much. It has been so fun. I feel like we need to have coffee or something.
Definitely.
But yeah, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. If you found this episode inspiring, please share it with someone you never know who needs more light in their life. May this serve as a reminder that there's always darkness in the world. Do not let it consume you. Always seek the light. Please take a moment to do the good old subscribe, rate, and review. Your support means so much to me, and it helps me spread more light and love. Until next time, be kind, be loving, be human, and don't ever let anyone steal your hope.